In this lesson we are going to see the small word tout in French. Tout is the masculine form. As you can hear, we don't pronounce the last letter T. Toute is the feminine form, tous the plural masculine, and toutes the plural feminine. So 4 forms and 3 categories, as tout can be an adjective, also an adverb, and finally a pronoun. So let's start now with the first category, when tout is an adjective. And the meaning in this case is all and wool. Well, there is an agreement when tout is an adjective, tout agrees with the gender of the noun. Let's take an example. J'ai pris tout l'argent. I took all the money. Argent in French is masculine, so the correct form is tout. And as you can hear, we don't pronounce the last letter T. J'ai pris tout l'argent. Another example, il a visité toute la maison. Toute la maison, maison is feminine, so we've got here the correct form with a final E, toute la maison. He visited the whole house. Tous ses enfants sont en vacances. All his or her children are on holidays. So here we say tous ses enfants. Why? Because enfant is plural, there is an S, and masculine. So the correct form is tous. But when we pronounce it, we don't say the last letter S. Why? Because just afterward we have a consonant. So we just say tous ses enfants. Tous ses enfants sont en vacances. There is many liaisons in this sentence. Tous ses enfants sont en vacances. Okay? In this category as an adjective, we've got some expressions, some idiomatic expressions like every day. You know that every in French, the translation may be chaque, but it is an idiomatic expression, so you can't translate this expression word for word from English into French, because the correct translation of every day is tous les jours. So in French we say tous les jours, and again here we don't pronounce the letter S at the end of tous because there is a consonant, tous les jours. Another example, following the same rule, every 5 meters, so tous les 5 mètres, tous les 5 mètres. Of course, there is an exception, some exceptions every time in French, and the exception is every time. Every time is not toutes les fois, but we prefer to say in this case chaque fois, using the word chaque. Let's see now when tout is an adverb, and in this case the meaning is very and quite. As an adverb, it should be invariable. This is the French grammar rule, but there is an exception with this particular word. Tout is not invariable, and the rule is particularly confusing. Look at that. Tout agrees with feminine words when they start with a consonant or an unplug H, but there is no agreement with masculine words or feminine words starting with a vowel or an unplug H. So let's explain this rule with some examples. The first one, we've got here the word naturel, which is masculine. So, as you say, no agreement with masculine words. So, we are going to keep our word tout here. C'est tout naturel, it's quite natural. Toute petite, elle aimait aller à la plage. Toute petite, so as a child, but we are speaking about a girl, she enjoyed going to the beach. Toute petite, elle aimait aller à la plage. So here we've got a feminine word, petite, but petite start with a consonant. So you remember the rule? Tout agrees with feminine words starting with a consonant. So here it's correct. We have the final E. Toute petite, elle aimait aller à la plage. Another example, this time there is no agreement. Je suis tout oui. The meaning is I'm all ears. Oui is ear. It is feminine in French. It's an expression. It is feminine in French, but start with a vowel. So, feminine words starting with a vowel, there is no agreement, so tout, oui. Well, this agreement is for writing actually, because when you say it, when you pronounce it, it is hard to say that there is no T. Why? Because there is no E, because there is a liaison between the two words. Je suis tout oui. Je suis tout oui. A final example, les toutes premières heures, the very first hours, so heure in French is feminine, so the adjective première, tout, start with a consonant, so there is an agreement. Les toutes premières heures. Okay? Let's see again the rule. Tout agrees with feminine words starting with a consonant or unplug H, but not with masculine words or feminine words starting with a vowel or a plug H. And there is more example on my website. In this category, we've got some French expressions too. Very close can be translated in très près, but you can also use the expression tout près. At the very bottom is tout au fond. Tout au fond at the very bottom. Let's see the last now category, tout as a pronoun. A pronoun is like Peter, is like Charlotte, is like he, like she, etc. So the meaning in this case is everything or all. And finally, there is no agreement. All the time we use tout. Tout va bien, everything is fine. Tout va bien. Les enfants mangent de tout. Children eat everything. Les enfants mangent de tout. Ce sera tout. Will that be all? Ce sera tout. Okay? And of course, we've got some French expressions, idiomatic expressions in this category too. Immediately can be translated in tout de suite. And later, tout à l'heure. That you know in the expression, see you later, à tout à l'heure. So tout de suite and tout à l'heure. Nothing at all is rien du tout. Rien du tout. Okay? So I hope now that vous comprenez tout sur le mot tout. Allez, c'est fini. Alors, au revoir et bon français.